Um, Wanted to get to this before we get to the Hawks because they have another game against Memphis tonight. It was interesting. They got saved in overtime last night or the other night by AJ Griffin. But this is uh, a situation over the weekend. Sorry, my hamster fell off the wheel as we were talking about the Atlanta Hawks. We don't want to talk about the Hawks. Stetson Bennett finishes fourth in the Heisman voting. And it's where we all thought he would finish. I don't think anybody really thought he was going to do better than that. Here's the thing. And there was a lot of back and forth, and I saw it on Twitter about, what people are calling hate for Stetson Bennett. I don't think there's any hate for Stetson Bennett, and people have accused me of hate for Stetson Bennett. I would tell you that it's not about hate for Stetson Bennett. It's literally about moving the goalposts for this award for one quarterback. The Heisman the Heisman Award is an individual award that is statistically based for the best college football player. And don't give me the definition that they write on the damn trophy. Like, stop. Okay, we know what this is. It is the award that goes to the best college football player who puts up the gaudiest numbers. Fair, fine. I'm okay with that. Objectively, Stetson Bennett did not meet that requirement. He just didn't. That's not hating. That's fact. He did not bring the numbers of all the guys there, and including Hendon Hooker, who wasn't there. Of all the guys who were there and Hendon Hooker, he had the least amount of stats out of all of them. And then you want to come back at me with, well, look what he did against ranked teams. I get that, but he has to play a full season. It's not a 5-game award. It's a full season award. I'm glad he plays well against good opponents, but that's not what the award is about. That's moving the goalposts. That's changing the criteria for winning the award for one player. It's not a team award. It's not. It's an individual award. Does it go to players on losing teams? No, it doesn't. Much like it's really hard to get an MVP in the NBA or in Major League Baseball on a team that's in dead last place. It's really hard. Why? Because being valuable, not only as an individual, but to your team is part of the whole thing. So again, I don't think there was any Stetson Bennett hate. I'm not mad that the guy was invited there or considered. To me, it just was moving the goalposts. That's all. It's not about how you perform against just the top teams. The award isn't just for anybody who happens to be on a team that's only lost one game in the last, 24 games, 25 games, whatever it is. It's not what the award is about. It's an individual award that goes to the best player with the gaudiest stats. That's it. That's what it's all about. So, all right, let's move on here from Stetson Bennett to the Atlanta Hawks. And I talked about this when we got the news that Dejounte Murray was going to go down and be out for 2 weeks, maybe even longer. I wondered about how the defense would perform and how things would change. Well, in the 2-game sample set we have, the Hawks have given up 120 and 122. Now, granted, call it what it is. That was an overtime game against the Bulls, so you could say they only gave up 110, but you're still in that range where it's going to start to get problematic for the Hawks. They're going to take on a Memphis team tonight in Memphis that, while not as potent as they were last year overall, it's still kind of early, but it's like a middle of the road offensive team right now. They still got players who can play, and they still can find the bucket and fill it up rather quickly. So I'm curious to see how the defense starts to look. Looked at the number here. The total tonight is 227. I got to double check the team totals to see where they are, but that to me can start to be a little bit of a problem when it comes to how this team is going to hold up over the next couple of weeks without him. Trey, once again, by the way, had a really bad shooting night against Chicago. So 2 of the last 3, he's been bad. 27% last night from the field, and then 25% from 3, and only had 19 points. Does have 14 assists, so that's good. But Trey continues to struggle from the field. I want to see how this starts to change again now that he has the ball in his hands more often than not. How much will this, really affect? Or I shouldn't say affect, because that sounds like it's going to make it negative. It could be really positive. But how much it's going to change what goes on. So, again, I think the Hawks are a little bit of an enigma right now, and they've got some things to clear up, and they certainly have to figure out a way to start to stockpile wins and put themselves in a better situation than where they are right now. It really is. It's telling how they're going to play here going forward, and it's all. By the way, too, in the inbound last night, they took Trey off the inbound to go to AJ Griffin. And that to me was an interesting move by Nate McMillan because I don't know that a lot of people would have expected it to go that way, but uh, there's a lot of things in a state of flux right now. So I'm just kind of curious to see how it all unfolds with the Hawks. They have a lot of things in front of them. So all right, here we go. Let's get to some other important news and notes here on Dansby Swanson because there's something very telling about what is going on with him right now and the fact that he hasn't signed yet. That in a moment. First, a word from our friends at the Locked On Sports Today podcast. We appreciate you guys making Locked On Falcons your first listen. Got to do that all week long. Aaron's going to have some great shows for you. For your next listen, check out the Locked On Sports Today podcast. Biggest stories of the day, plus instant reactions, big game recaps, and the take of the day. Available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts.